Hey guys, Mr. Fleishman here. Happy wonderful Wednesday. Today we are going to read Curious George Visits the Dentist. Now, before we read Curious George Visits the Dentist, I want to talk about a couple things. First, the word curious. Curious means that you're always wondering something. So, for example, I'm always curious about what my cat is thinking. So I'm always wondering, what is my cat thinking? What is he doing? So that's something I'm curious about. Monkeys, like Curious George, are always wondering what different things are. So they always go to check different things out. They're always very confused or just wondering like what's going on in the world. So today we're going to read this fictional story. Now we know that this is a fictional story because fictional stories, well, they tell a story about a character. I already know who my character is going to be. It's going to be Curious George. I even know the setting. He's at the dentist office. I got all that just from looking at the front cover. I'm even going to take a guess that maybe he's a little bit scared to go to the dentist because I think a lot of people are always scared to go to the dentist the first time. And this is really cool. If you want, after the video, you can go back in the video and pause, and you can do this really cool Curious George maze on the back of the book. I'll try to put it here so that the light isn't in the way. Okay? All right. When we are done, we're going to focus on this question. How does Curious George feel when he is sitting in the waiting room? Support your answer with text evidence. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. When he visited his neighbor, Miss Ross, he was especially curious about her gleaming basket of fruit. That bright red apple on top looked too perfect to be true. It was you. George bit into it and discovered that it was hard and sticky and not sweet. Oh dear, said Miss Ross. That's not a real apple, George. It's made of wax. George's tooth began to hurt. You should always ask before eating something, George, the man with the yellow hat reminded him. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to find a spot in this room that doesn't have a glare behind me. By the time he went to bed that evening, George's tooth was less sore, but the next morning his tooth was wobbly. His mouth felt so strange that George couldn't even enjoy his favorite pancake breakfast. Oh my goodness. We should see the dentist, George, the man said. She can make sure that tooth of yours is all right. The man explained that the dentist was a doctor for teeth, but George didn't want anyone to touch his tooth. What if it hurt? George walked along the path to the dentist's office with his friend, his steps getting slower and slower until he ran off to pick a daisy. Take a second and look at how you think George might be feeling right now. Remember, something I've talked about is not using the character's face, but using the character's body language, how they're moving, how their body looks. I can tell that he's trying to slow down the man in the yellow hat. He's trying to pull him. And the text says that he's getting slower and slower. That tells me that he's feeling nervous. That's very pretty, said the man chasing after George, but we have an appointment we shouldn't be late for. You'll be a good little monkey, won't you? George nodded. He always wanted to be good. The waiting room was a welcoming place. Guys, I'm going to stop real quick and just tell you, the word welcoming here means that it was a nice, warm, comfortable, fun place. Like, for example, your classrooms that you obviously go to are welcoming places. When you walk in, it's nice and bright and fresh, and it makes you feel like you're ready to learn. So when something is welcoming, it's very inviting, and it's very enjoyable to go into that place. There were lots of things to see and do. One by one, the young patients were called away by a woman in a white suit. George watched them go through a red door, each holding onto a grown-up's hand. One frightened boy was carried in by his mother. George was glad he wouldn't have to see the dentist by himself. "George, you're next," the woman announced. George was sad to put down his book, but he was also a little curious about where the children were going. Was there a play area on the other side? Hey guys, I'm gonna stop there today. I'm gonna look back in our back at our question. How does Curious George feel when he is sitting in the waiting room? Support your answer with text evidence. Now, I already wrote our sentence starters for today. I think Curious George felt blank. I think this because the text said blank. I also think this because blank. Do you notice that I didn't put any page numbers in there? That's because there's no page numbers in the book, so you do not need to worry about that today. Hey guys, make sure to take a picture of your assignment and put it on Class Dojo, or if you want to go like the extra mile and make me really proud, something that you can do is, and I taught a parent how to do this yesterday, you can make a video on your phone of you answering the question, and then you can upload that video onto Class Dojo so that we can see you working super hard from home and growing your brain. So I miss you guys. I will see you again tomorrow. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Class Dojo. And if you miss me too, like I miss you, you guys can send me messages or videos, and I promise you I will respond to them right away. Stay well, stay safe, try not to stay indoors, go outside for a walk, go play something, go run around, do something fun out there. And I hope you have a great, wonderful Wednesday. Take care.